Welcome back, traders, to another weekly Forexcast. Man, it was really an amazing week last week. A lot of volume came into the market, like really more than I expected. I expected some volume with FOMC, but the moves that we've seen has been literally I've been waiting for these moves for the last 3 to 4 weeks, probably about a month or so. I've been waiting. So looking at some of the moves we got. If you look at this on Euro JPY, before things played out, I was expecting, you see here, I actually moved back to white charts. But seeing here, I was expecting price to pull up before continuing down. So let's see how that played out. That gave us a nice move. USD CAD right here. Price was in its major demand zone. I was expecting price to give us a nice bullish wave up. All right. That played out perfect. If we look at CAD JPY, beautiful setup. I was expecting this to give us a nice bearish wave down. And then we also had that's Euro JPY as well. GBP AUD was another one that played out perfect. All right. So really Euro USD was another one. All right. So just multiple setups that played out. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Multiple setups that played out. It gave us a great opportunity. So if we look in here on a DXY, all right, the US dollar index, we can see if you've been following me for these last few weeks, you will know that I've been anticipating dollar to continue bullish from here. All right, so looking at this on a weekly, what price did is it came down to this major demand level, and we had a nice reaction from that level. That's why I always say you always want to look left to go right, because last time price came here again, nice bullish wave from that level. All right, price came here again, so it consolidated about 4 weeks. All right, and then about a month and consolidated, and now we got this big wave to the upside. On the last session, I was actually saying that we can see price after seeing this nice weekly bullish price action. I was saying that we can see price pull up to around 91.5 around this structure level. Well, you can see we completely pumped past that level. All right. And it was because of really FOMC, things that's going on fundamentally. But one thing I know, I'm a technical trader. I could be completely transparent and say I'm still learning. I'm learning even new things about what certain fundamentals mean and how they can affect the market. But one thing I could say just off experience, when the technicals are lining up, it's already priced in. The fundamentals usually are just accelerating the move that the price action is already showing you. All right. So looking at this on the dollar index, boom, we got completely bullish price action heading to this. Look like we're heading to this level of supply. All right. So even if price pull back some, all right, which even if pull back here, that'd be a structural type pullback. But overall, I'm still expecting price to reach this level of supply. All right. Looking at the weekly and even looking at the monthly, we can possibly break this level. All right. We could possibly break this level because the monthly closes in another about 2 weeks. This monthly candle is looking like it's going to be bullish and engulfing. If that's the case, it's likely that we break that level. All right. Because last time price was here, we had a big wave up. So price could possibly break this level and head a little higher. All right. So if we look at that on a 4-hour or even a daily chart, we can head higher than this level to the left. And we're just going to see price react similar when we trade in US dollar pairs. All right. So I'm going to go down my list. I'm going to show you what we're looking at. CAD JPY. So CAD JPY was actually a signal that was given. If you're in a private Discord, just so you can see how these trade ideas and trade alerts look. I could show you that I actually gave CAD JPY right here. All right. This was my selling execution. It was around 90.34. All right. TP1 was 74 pips. TP2 was 89.20, which is 114 pips. All right. We hit that and we surpassed that. We look at where price is at now. Price is at 88. It pulled to 88.40. All right. So that actually it dropped another 80 pips lower than what my TP2 was. All right. So if we look at this, it was pretty simple. It was a real simple setup. All right. Looking at this, where price is currently at, so we can get an idea. First, if we look at the weekly chart, we can see the price was clearly in the same level of supply when price had a big sell-off. So it's not a coincidence that price came to the same level of sellers, had a nice sell-off again. All right. It's not a coincidence. So all we do in these situations, we look at price action. We see how is price reacting when we get to these levels. All right, when we get to these strong structural levels, what is price showing us? Right here, price formed the top. It formed the top, had a nice breakdown, breaking structure. When I say breaking structure, it broke this structure. All right. We had a breakdown, a retest, a continuation. All right. On this pullback, right, I was looking for my continued sell. This was our high. This was our lower high. This was another lower high it was forming. And boom, we had that continuation downside. So my students, people that was in that's in the VIP, we caught this move and it dropped even lower for us. So for me, this was just a simple price action based setup. All right. I see that price structurally was making those moves. So on these corrections, I'm looking for my continuations. All right. And we just riding the wave of the market. Okay. So if we look at Euro JPY, oh, well, wait, before I do that, CAD JPY. So what can we potentially see in the future? Looking at the weekly, we could come a lot lower. We could possibly come a lot lower. All right. But where could we possibly go going into next week and beyond? You know, because I trade based off the higher time frames. I'm not a scalper. Seeing that we're back at this structural level, if I look at the daily, you know, we're back at this level. It was a resistance there. All right. We're back at this similar level of structure. So I wouldn't be surprised if price pull up, give us a deeper correction before more continuation. But overall, I'm still bearish. This market is still bearish to me. It's just a matter of how deep we want to pull back. So I wouldn't look for sales here. I would need to see deeper corrections before I look for any potential sales to the downside. All right. Because that was a lot of pressure last trading week. Euro JPY, man, this was one of my better setups this week. I mean, last week as well. If we look at this as well, this trade was given out similar to CAD JPY. If we see, let's see if I can find it right here. The sale was given at 133. You see sale on Euro JPY 133.36. It was only a 46 pip stop. All right. TP1 was 56 pips. TP2 is 132.4. And that was 96 pips. Price dropped at least another 100 plus pips. Our 132.4 was at our 96 pip TP2 target. Price is currently at, it dropped to 130, basically 130.7 around there. All right. So that dropped much more. So if we look at this, this was similar to CAD JPY. We know that price was at a major level of supply. All right. I covered these pairs on the last analysis, the last weekly Forexcast. Price slightly closed above this level. So seeing that, it's about seeing if price is going to pull back and hold, all right, or if it's going to break structure. So looking at this, have my trend line drawn up here. This was similar. So we had a nice breakdown here. Price pulled back, retesting structure, continued down, breaking structure there, breaking a lower low. So now on this pullback, rejecting my trend line, forming a lower high rejection, that's when I was looking for my sales. So my sell entries was given around here, right? 133.34. And from there, we can see how many pips it really dropped. 133.34 about here. Price dropped over 270 pips. All right. So that was a beautiful setup right there. And also, I got this daily trend line drawn. Price is breaking that now. So this is a clear indication of a reversal. So now it's a matter of how far we want to reverse. All right. Price just broke below this previous structure right here. So price could potentially just continue to the downside, maybe pull back for retest and continue, because around this level is where I would have potentially looked for to see if price want to reject and maybe give us a pullback, retest structure levels, maybe the trend line for continuation. But it started to break this previous structure to the left. So looking at that, I wouldn't be surprised if price maybe slightly pulled up, but continued its wave down. So for me, I would either need to see a deeper correction, a deeper correction for continuation, or I would need to see more breakdown and then look to trade those pullbacks for bigger moves to the downside. Because now looking at the weekly, the monthly, I believe the top is in, so we're going to see bigger moves back down to the downside. All right, that's Euro JPY. Looking at Euro USD, Euro USD was another pair that I've been on for the last few weeks, but we see here on a weekly straight bearish pressure. All right, that's was something that I was anticipating. So now looking at this type of move, all right, this was also given out just so you can see last week. Boom, TP2. So the sale was given at 1.2184. TP2 was 1.2020. Although I was expecting it to hit 1.200, we hit 1.2020, 164 pips. All right. But 2184 was our initial entry. 2184 is around here. It's around this structure. And boom, caught that whole wave. All right. So if we understand this from a structural standpoint, price came to the same level of supply. All right. That same level of supply where you had sellers in the past. It gave us this bearish engulfing on the daily, broke down, pull back, shooting star, correction down, continuation, pull back, lower high, continuation. All right. And then boom, we just had that continue move to the downside. So this was simple. For me, this is where we was at last week before FOMC, slightly pulling back. I was looking to see if price want to give us a deeper pullback, but you can see right there, it was just ranging slightly on this pullback before when FOMC came out. Boom, strong continuation to the downside. All right. And that's what I was anticipating. I just didn't know if it want to give me a deeper pullback or not. But it never came back to our entry that we took. All right. So from the entry that was given on that signal, let's see, price moved over 330 pips. Price moved from the entry that was given on the signal. Beautiful setup. So now looking at this on a daily or weekly perspective, I'm still bearish on this. All right. But I wouldn't be surprised if price had a correction, right? Maybe to retouch structural levels, possibly. But overall, I'm still expecting price to come back down to these structural levels, roughly around 1.710 to 1.70 support. All right. You can also draw a trend line here on the daily, like from this lower high double bottom structure to this lower high, and just extend that out. All right, so that's something I will draw into. So when price reached there, that's a point of structure that you could pay attention to. But overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some type of correction before you give it a continued move down. All right, GBP USD. Looking at GU, we could see that same thing. This dollar, man, it's crazy because GU was something I was really anticipating too. We had this nice supply level, price been ranging in this same. We had another test here, boom, pullback was ranging, and then now you see we're getting that same respect to that level. All right, boom, a lot of bearish pressure. All right, I remember I was looking for sales in this retest around here. Price dropped over 300 pips. It's like everything was just playing out perfectly. Technicals is easy. It's about managing your emotions, managing your discipline, right? So you can see right here, remember, you guys remember that I was saying I'm expecting this range. I'm looking for a break of this ranging market. We had the breakdown. This was the retest. Before FOMC, we was right here. Boom, FOMC gave us that strong continuation down. All right. Strong fundamentals like that is what's going to bring that value. You're not going to always see that boom, strong continuation like that, but it's the same top technicals. All right. So we got that continuation down on the retest. And now we're back at the psychological level around 1.38. So after such a bearish move, I wouldn't be looking for sales right here. All right. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, some type of bullish respection or price respect, bullish price action, and then give us a correction up before any move down. All right. So in GU, for a short date intraday trader, I will look for see if price want to form some type of bullish price action here. If so, that could be a possible buy entry before price give us that, trending move to the downside that we're setting up for that from that supply level. All right. GBP AUD, GA was something as well. I sent this out. You guys go to Instagram at the FX Wave. All right. I sent this out with this inverted head and shoulders. I was expecting right here for price to move up. So we had this move up. I remember the last couple of weeks, I told you I was looking for price to hit this psychological level around 1.85. We now are at that level. You can look at that on the weekly. We now at that level. But when Sunday opens up, I'm recording this with video on Saturday evening. All right, when the market opens, I will be careful right here because you see it's going to open a strong bullish on this price action. So only price we broke that level, but you could possibly get some potential day trades from this level because we're on a daily, we back at this level of supply. All right. So I would definitely be watching price action to see if we want to respect that supply level. Because on a 4 hour, we see we already gave this nice bearish shooting star type engulfing rejection. All right. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was some type of correction before we get a wave down, before any continuation up. All right. So for me, it's one of two things that can happen. Is either price is going to break this level or it's going to respect with nice price action. All right. And then we could possibly get a rejection here, maybe a pullback correction and just continue that wave down. But the price was to continue to break this level, then on the retest opportunities, look for your continuation buys. USD CAD. USD CAD was another one. I showed y'all that, I sent this out. Look at the FX wave on Instagram. You could see price was ranging at this at this demand level. You can look at the weekly, look to the left. All right, price had a big move up from here. All right, so price respected this level. It was ranging for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then we finally got that move up that I was anticipating. All right, so I actually have this daily trend line drawn up. It reached the level that I was expecting, but it kept breaking out. This daily trend line, it broke here. So now I'm still bullish on this. I was saying this was likely a swing trade setting up. So now that we're breaking up, I will expect we probably would get some type of correction down, but on this pullback, I will expect price to potentially set up for continued waves to the upside. All right, so my next target on this would be this lower high structure, roughly around 1.26. All right, anywhere around here. Anywhere from 1.26 to 1.266. All right, so I won't be surprised if we see some type of correction down before you get a continuation up. That's what I will expect or look for potentially on USD CAD. GBP NZD, we could see that on GN prices now. I was expecting this eventually. Nice move up, higher low. Now we getting that, potential 3-wave up. 1, 2, 3. All right. So looking at that, I would say, like looking at the daily, prices clearly broke above the supply structure. All right. So I wouldn't be looking for sales here at all. I would be looking for potential correction, maybe a retest before you get a continuation up towards the next supply level. All right, because it's already showing me that it's moving in the uptrend on the daily, on the 4-hour. All right. So you see here, creating higher highs. So I will expect something like this, maybe a correction pullback before continuation to the upside. GJ was another beautiful setup. All right. I've been waiting for this reversal too. And if you look at the last session, I said if we broke this level, this higher low level, then that's definitely a strong indication that we're going even further down. All right. I caught some of this sell, but now that we broke this higher low structure, I'm even more confident that we're going to see even bigger moves to the downside. You see, when Sunday opens, this weekly close is going to be very strong. All right. So any pullback, I believe, is just a corrective move to continue. So I will look for this to possibly correct up towards these structural levels, before continuing down. That's something I will look for. All right. Whether it's the 4-hour, the daily, but overall, I will expect something like this. If it decides to correct, these are the levels that I will look for my potential continuation sales before price continues to the downside. Gold, strong move to the downside. I definitely wasn't expecting such a big move. I knew the potential of it moving down, but when the dollar came out so strong, boom, you see what happened. All right. From this high, lower high, price moved about 1,400 pips, so nice move. And I don't believe it's done yet. That's what's crazy. We look at the weekly, we look at the monthly look like it could be setting up a bearish engulfing. So if you look at this and the dollar continues to be bullish over these next coming months, you can expect gold to do the same. All right. So it's a bit tricky to potentially see where we can go, but we see now we're at this level of structure support. All right. So from there, if the dollar corrects, then gold could possibly correct too. But overall, I'm still expecting moves to the downside. So with this, I'm just going to monitor and see how price corrects along with the dollar index. But overall, I believe we could come back down possibly towards these levels of support or demand. All right, so just real quick, I'm gonna look at the indices. Indices tend to be inverse of what the dollar index is doing. So we see the dollar index is going bullish, and these indices, these risk access, is going bearish. All right, strong tops right here. All right, this is the S&P 500, nice top. This weekly candle, nice bearish engulfing. I mean, it's the daily candle, nice bearish engulfing move. All right, weekly candle, look like the bearish, a nice, when the Sunday open, this is gonna be a nice bearish engulfing shooting star. So seeing that on a weekly, it's showing me signs that it's likely that these next overall moves is to this downside. All right, it's to the downside. So we're gonna see more moves to the downside most likely. All right, so looking at this on the daily, you can look in the 4 hour. I'm looking at structure now because price found this type, false breakout, broke down right here. This correction was the move for potential entry for the sell again. Boom, we broke down. So you can see we breaking this structure right here. So overall, we'll expect price to either pull back slightly to this level and continue, or possibly even this level. All right. But overall, we'll expect it to stay below this lower high. And I'm expecting more moves to the downside on US S&P 500. All right. Because looking at the weekly, I believe we're moving down further. Now, if it breaks this level, then we can go even further. So we're going to see if this is a nice top. Same thing with like US 30. US 30, boom. Look at this weekly chart. Nice bearish price action. All right, we can look at this on a monthly. It looked like it could possibly be setting up for a bearish engulfing. If that happens, then oh yeah, we're going to see nice moves to the downside. All right. Looking at this on the weekly or on the daily, you can see prices now breaking structure. This could be looked at as a double top. This top right here, boom. This is the neckline. Price continues to break that, could possibly get a retest of that and continuation. It's either a retest for continuation or possibly a deeper pullback. But overall, I'm expecting this to continue to the downside. All right, so we're going to see what type of moves this give us. But overall, I'm expecting this to continue for a bigger move down. And then lastly, the NASDAQ for the US 100. This haven't moved yet, actually. So this can be opportunity at the top. Opportunity at the top. It's at this level of supply. All right. With the way the other indices are moving and the dollar is moving, I will anticipate for this to sell off similar. All right. Looking at the 4 hour, we haven't moved yet. So you see, boom, we're still in this uptrend. But when price starts to break down, let's say we get a breakdown of structure, I would say on these corrections or pullbacks, if it gives you that, those are continuation moves to the downside. All right. So be on the lookout for this potential breakout. All right. Because with this not moving with the others, I'll expect this to catch up. All right. And eventually move back down here, really, or lower, possibly. All right. So those are the potential moves for this week. A lot of pairs already showed strong moves from supply and demand. So I feel like what we're doing for the next coming months is just riding the wave. Where if you're a trend trader, watch for those continuation or for those correction moves for potential continuation setups. And if you're just riding with the wave of the market on both sides, I mean, if you know how to read the market, you can trade into the continuation and then also trade the continuation. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of how you look at the market and put it into perspective. All right. So if you're in a private Discord, I will keep you all up to date. Let's see if we can catch more pips on these signals. If you're just here, just trying to get, more information and just see how we look at the market. This is how we trade, supply and demand. Just keep it very, very simple, and we all can catch pips. See you all in the next session.